Hello and welcome to a new episode of Vedic Spirituality. My name is Madan Gopal Das. I am your host on this channel. And in today's video, we're going to cover the very basics of what is Vedic knowledge, or what is this Vedic culture about, what is the essence. So these are the views of an insider of Vedic knowledge, one who is practicing it, one who is following the culture. And it will differ from the views from outsiders, from scholars and professors who will have many different opinions and will say many different things about how Vedic culture developed and so on. So these are the views of an insider. And this is the, so to say, Vedic knowledge in his own light, what Vedic knowledge says about itself. So Vedic knowledge is very different from modern so-called modern scientific knowledge, because scientific knowledge is based on observation. It is an empiric knowledge. It is based on sense perception, and from the sense perception with logic the knowledge is derived. Whereas Vedic knowledge is not an ascending process, is not something that develops, is not something that we research. It is a revelation. It is inherent in the creation. It is like the knowledge of the Creator himself. So therefore, I would like to start with one particular verse from the Vedic scriptures. It's from the Mahabharata, from the Bhagavad Gita. It is the verse 15, the 15th chapter, the 15th verse. And there it is saying, in the third and fourth line, there Krishna, who is the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, and who is also the supreme consciousness, Vishnu, the all-pervading consciousness, the maintainer of this world, and more or less the primary source of creation and all life and all consciousness. So he says that, I will not bother you with the Sanskrit, I will put it in the description, you can read it there, but the translation says that the goal of the Vedas, or the purpose of the Vedas, is to know me. And also he says that I am the author of the Vedānta-kṛd. I am the writer, I am the one who wrote it, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So the Vedic knowledge doesn't originate in this world. It originates in the source of creation itself. It originates from the supreme conscious being. So it is, and the goal of the Vedas is to make everyone aware, everyone conscious of him. So therefore, in another place we can see, it is said that Vedas, they only talk about three main things. And I wrote it here out. This is, you can see it. This is sambandha, abhidheya, and prayojana. So it said that the Vedas, they only talk about three things. And that is a relationship. Abhidheya is that we live that relationship. And prayojana is the meaning, what is our need? What actually we need in our life. So the Vedas, they inform us what is our relationship, with whom we should have relationship. And then the Vedas inform us how to live that relationship. And then he will inform us, it's most importantly, about what actually we need to be happy. So this is the three things that the Vedas cover: sambandha, abhidheya, and prayojana. And if we are really into it, so to say, we understand this well, then whatever scripture we read, it might be the Mahabharata, it might be one of the four Vedas, the Rig Veda, whatever Veda, we will see that every shloka or every verse of the Veda, they contain in some or other shape these three topics. Yeah. So what is the sambandha? So the Vedas, they inform us that our real relationship is with the Supreme Lord. The individual soul, the Jiva, the Jiva Atma, his relationship is actually with the Paramatma. All the relationships we have with the other living entities in this world is only based on the body and is temporary. So your father and mother, they're your father and mother for a few decades, maybe 70 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, it depends. And after that, the relationship will be broken. And your relationship with your wife, with your children, it is for this lifetime. As soon you will give up this body, this relationship will be broken. It might be that if the attachment is very strong, you might meet again in a few lifetimes, but after 4 or 5 lifetimes, you will completely be separate. You will never know that this living entity in one of the lifetimes was your wife, and this little living entity 100 lives before was your son. You will never know that. So these relationships we have in this world is completely temporary. So therefore the Vedas inform us that the real relationship is the relationship with Krishna. So our relationship is Krishna Sambandha. And how to live that relationship? The relationship means that we have to extend our love to him. So the Vedas will not only teach us that, inform us that our relationship is supposed to be with God, and all relationships we have in this world should be based on this principle. So God is in the center, but also it shows us, it teaches us how we can extend our love to God. So therefore, so many ceremonies are given, and all these ceremonies are just there for extending our love to God. And if the Sambandha is established and we are living that relationship, then we will get what we need, and that is prem, that is love, the love of God. So the Vedas inform us that the living entities, our main function is love. We are our basic of our existence is love and attention. So we are consciousness, and consciousness means whatever consciousness puts its attention to, it is an expression of love. Consciousness and love is practically the same. But what happens in the material world is that we extend our love and our attention, we invest our consciousness into matter. We are investing it into the temporary body, we are investing it into temporary relationships, and that will never satisfy the soul, because the soul is eternal. So therefore the Vedas inform us that our relationship, loving relationship, should be with the supreme, eternal friend. And we should extend our love to him, and then we will get the pure love, which will be the full satisfaction of our heart and our life. So, so that is the goal of the Vedas. The goal of the Vedas is to know Krishna, and he can be only known through love. And we can only love someone we have a relationship with. So therefore the very first step is this sambandha, is to get this relationship, and then we have to practice the relationship, and then we get what we need, and that is the love. Sorry, it's so windy here. So now we go to the point, so how we can get access to this, how we can understand that. So this knowledge is not contained in books. I mean, there are so many Vedic scriptures in Sanskrit, and nowadays with internet anyone can just search for any type of Vedic scripture and get the Sanskrit in a PDF form, or get even an English translation of it. So but just by reading a book you cannot understand it like this. If you just approach the Vedas and you just read it for yourself, you will never come to this conclusion. You will never be able to understand that the goal of the Vedas is to get love for God. That is not, you will never understand that. But rather you will be thinking the goal of the Vedas is to have a better life, to be religious, make good karma, be elevated to the heavenly planets and enjoy their heavenly pleasures. Or it is there to have a better health by doing yoga and to have more money, to have better art. So there are better finances. You will think, oh, it's about to have some kind of mudras. I don't know any type of mudra, like for instance this. You make a mudra like this. So the Vedas are a storage of knowledge that shows us how we can be more comfortable in this world, have more finances, have better sex if you're going for the Kama Sutra. So if we approach the Vedic culture or the Vedic scriptures just by ourselves and we just read it, we will always remain in the realms of karma, jnana and yoga. And we will think that the goal of life is to be religious and kind to others, so we will get good karma and will be elevated to higher planetary systems and can enjoy with the gods. Or we are getting better finances, we know how to getting blessings of the different demigods to be successful in the business and so on. We will worship Ganesh to get more money, to get rid of our obstacles in our business. Or we will how we can better enjoy, get our desires fulfilled, have better sex, have better eating, have better digestion so we can eat more. Or we are thinking to just get rid of everything and just merge into the impersonal Brahman light and get liberation. Because we are fed up of all these futile goals of life, like finances, dharma and fulfilling of desires. So if we approach the Vedas just by ourselves and just read it, we will always think the Vedas are about these things. And we will never understand that the real core of Vedic knowledge or the real core of Vedic culture is to bring all the living entities to the platform of love of God. So how we can get access to this, and how we will not dwell just on the surface of Vedic knowledge and will be just deceived by the flowery language of the Vedas. So this happens if we approach the Vedic knowledge through initiation from a spiritual master, from a bona fide spiritual master. So the Vedas, they were revealed to the first living entity, Lord Brahma. And before Lord Brahma was manifested by Lord Vishnu, he already, from himself, from his own Shakti, he already manifested the universe, universal shell, and the planetary systems, and all the elements needed to create life. Then he manifested Lord Brahma, and he gave into the heart of Lord Brahma this knowledge of Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. He gave him this knowledge and the intelligence how to create this world. So Lord Brahma then started to make living entities from the elements that were already there by the power of Lord Vishnu. And one of the sons of Lord Brahma was Narada Muni, and Narada Muni especially is the spiritual master of the whole universe, who then traveled through the world to teach these things. So Narada Muni is the son of Brahma, who especially was entrusted with this spiritual part of the Vedic knowledge. There are others who were more entrusted with these things. So just to say, it's a short side note, these things are also important to run a society. But if you have only this without that, then it is only materialistic, and it will not have an eternal gain. So this is the materialistic part of the Vedas, and that is important to run your life, of course. If we want to have a family, we want to maintain our children, and we want to maintain the society, all this knowledge is important. Therefore the Vedas give it also. But if we have only this without the heart, then the society will be soulless, will have no soul, will not have no, will be just run on superficial things, and will not actually have an eternal benefit for which the Vedas actually are meant for. So therefore, so Narada Muni, he then gave his knowledge, he came to Vyasadeva, and he initiated Vyasadeva and gave Vyasadeva this knowledge, and Vyasadeva gave it to Madhvacharya and all the other big acharyas. Acharyas means great gurus. So now, but the point I want to make is here that this knowledge, spiritual knowledge, is not contained in books. It is contained in the heart of the great personalities, of the great gurus. It is contained in the heart of the great guru. It is said in the Mahabharata that dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. This tattva, this knowledge, this truth about the real duty of the soul, it is hidden in the secret chamber of the Mahajanas, the great personalities. So therefore, if you approach the Vedic literature and you just read it by yourself without listening from a bona fide authority, from a real person in whose heart this knowledge is realized, you will always miss the point. So therefore the Bhagavad Gita says, I just don't know the number by top of my mind, but it will be in the description below. It's in the 4th chapter. It said, evaṁ paramparā-prāptam. Evaṁ, these things, evaṁ, it is prāptam, it is received, prāptam, through the parampara, through the disciplic succession. And what is a disciplic succession? That is a person in whose heart this knowledge is realized, fully realized. He can see, he is tattva-vid, tattva-darshi, he can see this, he can perceive it through his heart. And he will speak it from his heart, he will speak it, and another person, his disciple, he will listen it with his, he will receive this sound with his ear, and it will go in his heart, and it will clean his heart, and that through the grace of his master, this knowledge will awaken in his heart. So that is the process of disciplic succession. So therefore also in the Bhagavad Gita it said, Tadvidi pranepatena pariprashnena sevaya upedakshyanti te jñānam jñāninas tattva-darśinaḥ. So tadvidi, this knowledge, you have to approach a tattva-darshi, someone who can see the truth, and you will have to approach him, you have to serve him, and you have to ask questions. So though this is this knowledge is not something you have to argue with, but at the same time you cannot blindly accept it. It is not blind acceptance, blind faith will never help. It has to be realized. And if you're approaching a spiritual master and you're listening and doubts will come up in your mind, you will have to present these doubts in front of the spiritual master. And if he is a true spiritual master, he can destroy the doubts. So that is also a proof of a true spiritual master is someone who can explain this knowledge so logically and so profoundly that all the doubts you have will be destroyed in his presence. So therefore the very core of Vedic knowledge, and the very core and the very essence of the whole Vedic culture is the spiritual master, is the guru. It is a person in whose heart this knowledge is present. And we have to approach such a person and we have to surrender. And we have to listen, and we have to assimilate what he says. We have to think about it, we have to meditate about it. And if misunderstandings are there and doubts are there, we have to present them in front of the spiritual master, and by his grace, by his logical explanation, by his compassion, and by his realization, everything will make perfect sense. Then you will read the Vedas, and you will see that in every single verse of the Vedas, it's always pointing to the Vedas are meant to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Vedas are meant to establish our relationship with Him. And they are meant to teach us how we live this relationship. And they are meant to give us our supreme need, which is pure love. Our pure consciousness, not contaminated by material conditioning, and is fully flowing, fully directed to the eternal source, or the eternal object of love, which is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Consciousness. So, so now you might think, one thing I want to say also is we can see this from another angle. We can say there is a certain word. This is called Shabda Brahman. Shabda Brahman. So Brahman is come from Brihad Vastu, from the very big one. So the very big one, nothing in this world is actually big. Even the universe is actually finite. It is not infinite. So everything in this material realm is not Brihad. It is not Brahman. Brahman means which is unlimited. So that is the spiritual sky, the spiritual world. That is Brahman. Everything which is spiritual is Brahman. And the soul belongs to that Brahman actually. We are aham brahmasmi. I am spiritual. I'm spiritual. So therefore, Shabda Brahman, that is, Shabda means sound. So Shabda Brahman is spiritual sound vibration. And that spiritual sound vibration originates from the spiritual world, and it descends to our realm here and now on this planet in this 2019. It descends here through the disciplic succession, through the heart. And this Shabda Brahman, it's not contained in recordings. You will not find this Shabda Brahman on YouTube. You will not find it on Facebook or Instagram. You will not find it in any scripture. It is not contained on paper. It is only contained in the heart of a person, of a real life person. And that is the true guru, the true holder and keeper and storage of transcendental knowledge. And this Shabda Brahman can come to you only through the lotus mouth of such a person. And the only way to receive it is through your ear. And this has to happen in the right attitude. You cannot come and challenge, oh, you're a big guru. You show. It has to be done in a humble spirit. But anyway, this is another topic. Guru-disciple relationship is another topic. Not going into that here. But the point is that this spiritual sound is not contained in YouTube. It's not contained in any scripture. You can read the Bhagavad Gita 1,000,000 times, and you can be the most smartest person in the universe with the longest lifetime. You can live for 10,000 years, and you can be the biggest expert in Sanskrit grammatics, but you will not be able to understand the essence of the Bhagavad Gita unless you receive this Shabda Brahman through the medium of the pure spiritual master. So therefore, the very first qualification of a spiritual master is that he is coming in a disciplic succession. He is not someone who just was sitting below a tree and was hit by an apple and then got some enlightenment and get some idea. but he is Shrota. It is said in the Bhagavad, I will put the verse in the description, that it is said in that verse that if you want to know about this, we have to approach a guru who is Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Who is Shrotriyam? Shrotriyam means, Shrotriyam is coming from the same root, I guess, from Shabda. Anyway, it is in the description below. Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. He is coming under the listening process. He is coming Shrota. Shrota means listening. And Brahmanishtam, he is Nishtha. He is fixed in this absolute truth, in this knowledge, in this absolute truth. He is fixed. And why he is fixed? Because he has listened from his spiritual master. So that is the qualification of a true spiritual master. He is coming in a succession. He has listened from his spiritual master. He has received his Shabda Brahman, and he is able, and he will speak. So this spiritual master will speak, and from his mouth, this Shabda Brahman emanates. And it will, if we are receiving it in a proper attitude, it will come through our heart, and it will show us the spiritual world. It will show us who we really are, what is our spiritual identity. And it will become clear to us that this material world is temporary, though it is real, and though we have to use these things to manage our life here. But if we are not paying attention and not aiming for the love of God, our life is useless. So this is, and now the last point I want to say is that you might now think, okay, I'm living somewhere in the United States, I'm living somewhere in Africa, I'm living somewhere in Japan, or I'm living somewhere, and around here there is no spiritual master. How I will be able to, it is not practical. And most probably many will also doubt that actually there is a spiritual master. So therefore, it is said that the spiritual master, though he might look like an ordinary human being, but in fact he is the full instrument and the full, in other words, manifestation of the Paramatma, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in everyone's heart as a super soul. So according to Vedic understanding, we are living entities. We are living inside the gross body and the subtle body. The gross body is our senses, the hands, the arms, the working senses, and also the perceiving senses. And then we have a subtle body, which is our mind, the intelligence, and our identity, ego, is mana, buddhi, ahankar. So, the soul is sitting inside this, but it's not sitting alone there, it's sitting together with the Paramatma. And it is described that it is like two birds sitting in a tree. And one bird is always busy enjoying the fruits of the tree. So the tree is the body, the mind, and the gross body. And we are the individual soul. We are focusing our consciousness, we're investing our love, in other words, into this body and mind. And we're trying to somehow or other squeeze some enjoyment, some happiness out of these. But the other bird, which is the Supreme Lord, who always accompany us in order to facilitate our material enjoyment, and in the other hand, to just witness what we're doing. So he's just there and witnessing what we're doing. So when this Paramatma, this Supreme Consciousness that is always with us and always observing us, and is always just waiting for the moment where we somehow or other will realize, hey, what I'm actually doing here? Why I'm trying to squeeze out some enjoyment from a place where it's just not actually there? Why I'm not getting satisfied? Why life has to be so hard? Why? So if this type of feelings are coming up and you're starting to think, what is this about? Why I'm not happy? Who am I and why I'm not happy? Then this Paramatma this other bird who sits in the tree of the body, he will become active and he will make arrangement so that you will meet such a person who will be no one else than this Chaitya Guru, this Guru in the heart, this Supreme Lord, this Supreme Consciousness in the heart, who will just manifest as a person in order to give you instructions, in order that you will be able to realize this, what is your real relationship, what is your real activity, what you should do, how you actually should invest your love, how you should love, and how you can achieve that supreme state of purified consciousness and purified love, which is Prem. All right. So, just to reinforce the last point, so it is said that so you should not worry. You should not think, oh, now I have to find a spiritual master. You can, but you will not be able to see. You will not be able to find it by yourself. The spiritual master will find you when you have the genuine desire to know. So therefore the point I want to make is, now that you have been presented with these informations, and you might think, how I can get a spiritual master? So the only thing you have to do is to dedicate yourself, or to other words can say, to cultivate the strong desire that I want to know the truth. And that desire alone will make you meet a spiritual master. All right. So I think I came to an end now, a natural end, because the music started here. By the way, I'm here in the park. This is like a museum there in the backside. And they're preparing some kind of function there. So they're installing the sound system. So all right, it was really fun talking this to you. This was something was really burning in myself. I wanted to express this, and I hope very much that you could listen and understand what I'm saying, and stay tuned for more. Subscribe and hit the like button hard, and please leave a comment if you have listened so far and really invested your attention until this point. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think about this. And if you have any questions, any doubts, or any against argument, I'm happy to reply. All right, see you another time.